Ladies and gentlemen, there are words so powerful, so soaked in faith, that when spoken with conviction, they shift the atmosphere around you. Words that call light into darkness, that whisper to the weary heart, "You are not forgotten." Today, I want to remind you that the miracles you seek are not hiding from you. They are waiting for your voice. You see, the rhythm of your words, the truth in your tone, can draw blessings nearer than you've ever dreamed. When you speak from your spirit, when you speak from gratitude, when you speak from belief, the universe listens. My friends, I've lived long enough to know that what you declare daily, you eventually become. If you rise each morning and speak life, love, and possibility into your path, the world opens up like a flower turning to the sun. But if you choose silence in fear or words dipped in doubt, the same world turns away, leaving you to wonder why miracles miss your door. I say no more. Today, we reclaim the language of faith. Today, we speak with power. Speak it 3 times daily, not as a ritual, but as a reminder that miracles do not belong to the lucky. They belong to the faithful. Every word that leaves your mouth carries a vibration, a force, a kind of unseen energy that moves through the air and touches everything in its path. Words are not just sounds formed by the lips and tongue. They are declarations of the soul. They are the invisible architects of your reality, the blueprints upon which your life is built. When you understand that the words you speak shape the miracles you receive, you begin to guard your tongue like a sacred instrument, for it holds the power to open doors or close them. Many people spend years praying for change, begging for a breakthrough, crying out for blessings, yet their daily words betray them. They say they want abundance but speak lack. They say they want peace but speak chaos. They say they want love but speak resentment. And then they wonder why their prayers echo unanswered. The truth, my friends, is that the universe listens to the sound of your consistency. It listens to the melody of your declarations. Every word you repeat becomes a seed dropped into the soil of time. The soil does not judge the seed. It simply gives life to whatever is planted. If you plant fear, it grows. If you plant doubt, it grows. If you plant faith, it flourishes. You cannot plant weeds and expect roses. You cannot speak limitation and expect abundance. Your miracles are not withheld. They are responding to the signals you send through your speech. When I say that words shape miracles, I mean that they are the very tools of manifestation. The spoken word carries creative power, the same power that called the stars into being, the same power that breathed life into dust. Whether you believe in God, in the universe, or in the divine energy that threads through all things, the truth remains that creation responds to intention, and intention expressed through speech becomes direction. Each word is an instruction to the universe, a command that says, "This is what I desire," or "This is what I fear." The universe, impartial and generous, reflects it back to you, multiplying what you affirm. So when you speak doubt, you are not merely describing your situation. You are defining it. You are giving it shape, substance, and longevity. When you say, "I can't," you are teaching the universe that limitation is your truth. But when you say, "I can," even when the odds are stacked against you, you are teaching the universe to conspire in your favor. You are calling forth unseen forces to arrange themselves around your words. Words are prayers dressed in sound, and every syllable carries either permission or restriction. That is why you must speak with care, because the echo of your words does not fade, it circles back, carrying with it the reality you created. Consider the way children learn about themselves. A child who is told, "You are loved, you are strong, you are capable," begins to walk in that truth. Their shoulders straighten, their eyes shine with confidence, their dreams expand. Told, "You are nothing, you will never amount to anything," carries that weight into adulthood. Those words become chains, binding their sense of worth. The same law applies to you. What you continually speak over yourself becomes the truth you live. Every time you say, "I am tired," you deepen your exhaustion. Every time you say, "I am blessed," you make room for more blessings to arrive. Your words are instruments of alignment. When they match the vision in your heart, miracles appear naturally, like water flowing to the lowest point. But when your words contradict your dreams, confusion takes root. You cannot say, "I want peace," and then gossip about others. You cannot say, "I want success," and then declare that everything always goes wrong for you. The vibration of your speech must match the vibration of your desire. Miracles require coherence between what you feel, what you believe, and what you say. When all three align, the impossible becomes possible. There are moments in life when it feels as though nothing is moving. You pray, you work, you wait, and still the doors remain closed. But in those moments, what are you speaking? Are you saying, "I am stuck"? Or are you saying, "Something greater is forming"? Your words decide whether you stay in the waiting room or step into the miracle. The mind listens to the mouth. If your words carry despair, your spirit begins to sink. If your words carry hope, your spirit rises to meet the challenge. The world around you begins to reorganize itself to reflect the energy you release. Throughout history, every great leader, every visionary, every person who has changed the course of humanity understood the power of speech. They spoke what they believed long before it became visible. They called things that were not as though they were. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I have a dream, not I hope for one." His words became a movement. Nelson Mandela declared freedom in his heart long before he walked out of prison. Their words shaped reality because they were spoken from conviction, from the inner knowing that the unseen responds to the spoken. And so it is with you. Your words are your declarations of faith. Each time you speak, you are painting the landscape of your future. Speak sickness and your body feels it. Speak health and your cells respond. Speak defeat and your energy collapses. Speak victory and your steps strengthen. You are never just talking, you are creating. Your speech is a form of prophecy, a self-fulfilling revelation that shapes the trajectory of your days. That is why silence can sometimes be safer than speech, for even careless words have consequences. But when your speech is guided by love, faith, and purpose, it becomes a sacred tool that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. There is a spiritual rhythm to spoken words, a cadence that reaches beyond sound and meaning. That rhythm is the language of energy, the pulse of creation. When you speak with clarity and intention, that rhythm aligns with divine order. Your words begin to harmonize with the vibration of miracles. It is not magic, it is alignment. Just as a singer must find the right pitch to blend with the orchestra, your speech must find the right tone to blend with the music of the universe. Speak love, and love answers. Speak lack, and lack echoes. The universe is always listening, always reflecting, always responding to your vibration. Think of your words as keys. Some keys open doors, others lock them. Some open the door to healing, others to hurt. Every morning you are handed a new set of keys. What doors will you open? Will you say, "I am grateful," and unlock abundance? Will you say, "I am enough," and unlock peace? Or will you say, "I can't," and close yourself off from possibility? The choice is always yours, and the outcome always follows your words. That is why gratitude is such a powerful practice. It shifts your speech from complaint to celebration, from worry to trust. When you begin to speak blessings instead of burdens, miracles no longer feel like accidents. They become your natural state of being. You start to notice that people respond differently to you, that opportunities flow more freely, that your spirit feels lighter. That is because your words have changed your vibration, and your vibration has changed your reality. You are no longer attracting pain, but peace, no longer calling for struggle, but strength, no longer speaking defeat, but destiny. The beauty of this truth is that it requires no special education, no secret ritual, no divine favor reserved for the few. It belongs to everyone who dares to believe in the power of their own voice. You do not have to wait for life to change before you change your words. Change your words and life will follow. Your miracles are not far away. They are waiting for you to speak them into existence. Your healing is waiting for your I am whole. Your breakthrough is waiting for your I am ready. Your joy is waiting for your I am grateful. Every miracle you desire is hovering near, listening for its cue, and that cue is your voice. So speak with purpose. Speak with power. Speak as though the very air around you carries your command, because it does. The words you speak today are the miracles you will live tomorrow. Each phrase, each affirmation, each whispered prayer is a brushstroke on the canvas of your destiny. Speak wisely, speak boldly, and watch the unseen move in your favor. Faith is not meant to be silent. Faith that is hidden, unspoken, buried inside the heart without expression, is like a flame trapped under glass. It glows, but it cannot breathe. The moment faith is spoken aloud, it becomes a living force. It begins to move mountains, open paths, and call forth realities that once seemed impossible. Words give wings to belief, and when those words are spoken with unwavering conviction, they carry your dreams into the realm of manifestation. That is why faith and speech are inseparable. Faith unspoken remains thought. Faith spoken becomes power. There are people who believe deeply but never declare it, who hold hope quietly but never release it into the world. They wait for signs, for confirmations, for certainty before they dare to speak. But faith has never been about certainty. It has always been about courage. When you speak your faith aloud, you are not describing what is, you are announcing what will be. You are standing before the invisible and daring to call it visible. You are saying to the universe, I trust what I cannot yet see. And the universe, hearing that bold declaration, begins to rearrange itself to honor your trust. When you speak faith, you activate creation. You are not trying to convince the world, you are commanding your reality. The spoken word is a bridge between the spiritual and the physical, between what is hoped for and what is realized. It turns the unseen into substance. Every great achievement, every transformation, every healing began as a word spoken in faith. When a person says, I will overcome this, even when their situation looks hopeless, something begins to shift. It is as though those words unlock a door deep within the self, a door that leads to divine strength. Faith gives those words life, and life responds in kind. There are countless moments when fear tries to silence the voice of faith. Fear whispers, what if it doesn't happen? Faith answers, what if it does? Fear says, be quiet, you'll look foolish. Faith says, I'll look foolish until it works. Speaking faith aloud is not about performance. It is about partnership with the divine. It is saying, I believe that the God, the universe, or the source that made me will not abandon me. When those words leave your lips, they do more than inspire hope, they summon power. They tell the unseen forces that you are ready to receive. You see, faith unspoken can waver, but faith declared gains momentum. The more you speak it, the stronger it becomes. Every affirmation of belief is like a drumbeat calling life forward. When you say, "I am healing," your body begins to align with that truth. When you say, "I am worthy," your spirit rises to meet that claim. When you say, "It is already done," your energy shifts into readiness. Your words train your mind to see possibility instead of limitation. They remind your spirit that miracles are not fantasies. They are promises waiting for activation through faith-filled speech. Think about how creation began. In the beginning, there was nothing until a voice said, "Let there be." The act of speaking was the act of forming. The word became the vehicle through which the unseen took shape. That same power flows through every human being. We are reflections of that creative source, and our words carry echoes of that original command. When you speak faith aloud, you are not just expressing belief, you are engaging with the creative process itself. You are declaring that life must now align with the truth you have spoken. But faith spoken aloud requires honesty and courage. It asks you to rise above what your eyes see and trust what your spirit knows. It is easy to speak faith when everything is going well, when the bills are paid, when the path is clear. But real faith is spoken in the storm, in the dark, when there seems to be no reason to believe. That is when words matter most. When you stand in the valley and still declare, "I will rise," heaven leans in to listen. When you say, "I am victorious," even as you wipe your tears, the universe begins to shift in your favor. Faith spoken in struggle carries more weight than faith whispered in comfort, because it is forged in truth. The human mind is designed to follow the words it hears most often, especially when those words come from your own mouth. Every time you speak faith aloud, you are programming your subconscious mind to expect good things. You are retraining yourself to look for solutions instead of obstacles. Over time, the vibration of those words begins to affect your reality. People come into your life who reflect your belief. Opportunities appear that match your declarations. Faith spoken aloud has a way of attracting what it needs to sustain itself. There is also a mystery in repetition. When you repeat faith-filled words, you carve them into your consciousness. You may not see results immediately, but something deep within begins to change. The first time you say, "I am strong," it might feel like a lie. The 10th time, it begins to sound possible. The 100th time, it becomes your truth. Spoken faith turns hope into identity. It no longer feels like something you wish for, it feels like something you are. That is the point where belief becomes reality, not because the world suddenly changed, but because you did. Faith spoken aloud also carries an emotional vibration that resonates beyond the speaker. Have you ever been around someone whose words filled the room with power, whose voice carried peace, strength, and conviction? That is the sound of faith made audible. It is contagious. When you speak faith, you don't just bless yourself, you awaken faith in others. You remind them of what is possible. You remind them that they too can rise. That is why spoken faith can transform communities, families, even nations. It creates a frequency of hope that travels farther than you can imagine. There are those who believe that silence is safer, that keeping faith private protects it from disappointment. But silence also keeps miracles distant. A seed kept in the dark will never grow unless it is brought to the surface, exposed to light, air, and space. Your words are that exposure. They allow your faith to breathe. They tell the universe, "I am ready to see what I believe." It is not arrogance. It is partnership. It is saying, I am showing up to meet my miracle halfway. The miracle cannot find you if you do not announce where you stand. In the moments of your greatest doubt, you must speak faith the loudest. That is the paradox of power. When your voice trembles, your faith still works. It is not the volume that matters, it is the truth behind the words. Whispered faith carries as much force as shouted belief when it comes from the soul. Each syllable becomes a spark that lights the darkness. Faith spoken aloud may not change the situation instantly, but it changes you immediately. It shifts your posture from fear to expectation, from victim to victor. The habit of speaking faith aloud also builds spiritual endurance. Every declaration strengthens your ability to stand firm in uncertainty. Life will test your declarations. It will ask, do you really believe? And your answer will not be found in your feelings, but in your speech. When trouble comes, do you speak defeat or do you speak deliverance? When you speak faith, you remind the storm who you are and who you belong to. You are no longer tossed by the winds. You are anchored in your word. The storm may rage, but your declaration remains steady. Your words also teach your environment how to treat you. When you consistently speak faith, even people who doubt you begin to respond differently. They sense your confidence, your quiet assurance. You stop seeking validation from others because your words have already validated you. The world begins to mirror your inner conviction. Doors that once seemed closed begin to open, not because they suddenly became available, but because your spoken faith now recognizes them as possible paths. The beautiful thing about faith is that it multiplies when shared. The more you speak it, the more it grows. The more it grows, the more you attract evidence that it works. And when you begin to see even the smallest result of your spoken faith, a coincidence, an opportunity, an unexpected blessing, you realize that your words truly do carry weight. You start to walk differently, think differently, speak differently. You become more intentional, more aware, more grateful. Your words stop being casual and start being creative. Sometimes people misunderstand faith as denial. They think speaking faith means ignoring reality. But faith does not deny facts, it transcends them. When you say, I am healed, you are not denying the pain, you are affirming the higher truth that healing is on its way. When you say, I am provided for, you are not pretending you have everything you need, you are declaring that your needs will be met. Faith spoken aloud is not delusion, it is decision. It is choosing to align your mouth with your destiny rather than your difficulty. And when that alignment is complete, when your words, thoughts, and emotions all agree, the world responds with clarity. Paths open where there were walls. Resources appear from unexpected places. People show up with answers you didn't know you needed. That is not coincidence. That is spoken faith turning belief into reality. You are co-creating with the divine. You are no longer waiting for a miracle. You are speaking it into existence, one faithful word at a time. So every morning when you rise, let your first words be words of faith. Let your speech set the tone for your day. Say, today I expect good things. Today I walk in favor. Today I see miracles. Let those words shape your mindset, your actions, your attitude. Speak them when you are tired. Speak them when you are afraid. Speak them when nothing seems to make sense. Because each time you do, you reinforce the bridge between belief and reality. You remind the universe that you are still standing, still trusting, still expecting, still speaking. There is a rhythm in life, a sacred pulse that moves through every living thing, and gratitude is the beat that keeps us aligned with it. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a frequency, a language spoken directly to the divine. Every time you say, thank you, you send a signal to the universe that you recognize the blessings already present in your life. And when you repeat that gratitude daily, when you make it your spiritual practice to thank before you ask, to appreciate before you receive, you begin to tune yourself to the vibration of abundance. Repetition in gratitude creates divine alignment because it shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, from worry to trust, from need to fulfillment. Gratitude is the doorway through which miracles enter. But like any doorway, it must be opened repeatedly, not once. Thank you, whispered in a moment of joy, is beautiful, but consistent gratitude, spoken day after day, even in the midst of trials, becomes transformative. It teaches your spirit that every moment carries value, every breath is a blessing, every challenge carries wisdom. When you thank the divine for what you cannot yet see, you are declaring faith. When you thank for what you already have, you are multiplying it. The universe is generous to the grateful heart because gratitude proves readiness. Many people misunderstand the nature of gratitude. They believe it is something you express only when everything is going well. But true gratitude is strongest in adversity. When you can look at pain and still say, "Thank you for the lesson." When you can face uncertainty and still say, "Thank you for the opportunity to grow." You have entered the highest form of faith. Repetition in gratitude does not mean ignoring your struggles. It means acknowledging them while choosing to see grace through them. Every repeated thank you rewires your mind, rebalances your emotions, and realigns your energy with divine order. Imagine gratitude as a melody that never stops playing. Each word of thanks you speak adds another note, another layer of harmony to your life. When you repeat gratitude, you reinforce the sound of abundance. You begin to attract experiences that match your gratitude. You start to notice things you once overlooked. The small mercies, the subtle blessings, the quiet beauty hidden in ordinary days. Gratitude opens your eyes to what has always been there, but was drowned out by complaint and desire. The more you repeat it, the more you see, and the more you see, the more your life reflects back the goodness you acknowledge. Gratitude also brings order to chaos. When life feels confusing, when everything seems uncertain, gratitude becomes your anchor. It grounds you in the present moment. It reminds you that even here, even now, something good still exists. That awareness connects you to divine flow. You stop fighting the current and begin to move with it. Through repeated gratitude, you synchronize your heart with the rhythm of creation. Things that once seemed difficult begin to unfold with ease because your energy no longer resists. You have shifted from demand to surrender, from control to trust, from scarcity to sufficiency. There is also a divine law that what you appreciate appreciates. The more you focus on a blessing, the more it expands. Gratitude magnifies, it multiplies. Repetition is the engine that drives that multiplication. One act of gratitude can lift your mood. Repeated gratitude can transform your life. It is like sunlight. One beam warms your face, but daily exposure brings growth. The repetition of gratitude strengthens your spiritual muscles. It builds faith through consistency. It teaches you to find light in every shadow. You might think that repeating gratitude is simply saying the same words over and over, but it is more than that. It is not about mechanical phrases. It is about deepening awareness. Each thank you, spoken with intention, carries a new layer of meaning. Today's gratitude is not the same as yesterday's because you have changed. The situation has evolved. Gratitude grows with you. The repetition is not for the divine. It is for your own alignment. Each time you say, thank you, You remind yourself that you are blessed, capable, loved, and guided. You remind yourself that life is working with you, not against you. Think of gratitude as the compass of your soul. When repeated, it keeps you pointed toward peace. When neglected, you begin to drift into worry, fear, or bitterness. The act of returning to gratitude each day is what maintains your alignment with divine purpose. It's not about ignoring pain. It's about refusing to be consumed by it. Repetition keeps the heart humble and the spirit awake. It reminds you that even the smallest grace, a kind word, a sunrise, a heartbeat, is evidence that the universe has not forgotten you. Repetition in gratitude also builds momentum. One moment of thanks leads to another. You start to see patterns. How yesterday's disappointment became today's lesson. How a closed door protected you from harm. How something you once resisted turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Gratitude sharpens your vision. It allows you to trace divine fingerprints on the pages of your life. And when you see those prints, you realize that nothing has ever been random, that everything has been part of a larger orchestration. That realization brings peace beyond understanding. When gratitude is spoken repeatedly, it begins to shift your entire frequency. Your voice changes, your posture changes, your relationships change. You draw people and experiences that reflect your gratitude. Others feel your peace before you even speak it. You become a vessel through which divine energy flows freely. The repetition becomes not a task, but a rhythm, a spiritual heartbeat that sustains your connection to grace. Even science now echoes what ancient wisdom has always known: repeated gratitude rewires the brain. It alters neural pathways, increasing joy, resilience, and empathy. It changes perception. It makes the heart more open, the mind more creative, the body more at ease. But beyond the scientific explanation lies the spiritual truth. Repeated gratitude aligns you with divine intelligence. It puts you in harmony with the natural flow of blessings. You stop chasing miracles because you realize you are already living within them. When you wake up and say, "Thank you for another day," you align yourself with life's generosity. When you say, "Thank you for the lessons I don't yet understand," you align yourself with wisdom. When you say, "Thank you for the strength to continue," you align yourself with courage. Each expression of gratitude becomes a step closer to divine synchronization. The universe does not resist the grateful, it rushes toward them. Gratitude is a magnet, and repetition strengthens its pull. Repetition also turns gratitude from reaction into identity. At first, you may have to remind yourself to be thankful, but over time, it becomes natural. It becomes who you are. You no longer need to search for blessings. They reveal themselves to you. You find yourself thanking in advance for what you have not yet received because you know it is already on its way. That is divine alignment. Trusting the flow so deeply that gratitude comes before manifestation. There is something sacred in the act of thanking the divine before the miracle arrives. It is a statement of confidence, an act of surrender, a declaration of partnership. It says, "I may not see it yet, but I know it's done." Repeating that kind of gratitude every day strengthens the bridge between heaven and earth, between the invisible and the visible. It allows grace to flow uninterrupted. Gratitude spoken repeatedly also heals. It softens resentment, dissolves envy, and quiets fear. You cannot hold anger and gratitude in the same heart for long. One will eventually drive out the other. Repetition ensures that gratitude wins. The more you practice it, the more your heart expands. You begin to forgive more easily, to love more deeply, to live more peacefully. Gratitude pulls you back to center every time you drift into complaint. It reminds you of what still works, what still shines, what still matters. Even in silence, repeated gratitude speaks. The divine hears the language of your heart as clearly as your voice. Gratitude becomes a way of being, not just a series of words. When repeated enough, it shapes your energy so completely that others feel it in your presence. Your life itself becomes a thank you note written to creation. You begin to move through the world with grace, not because everything is perfect, but because you see perfection in everything. Repetition in gratitude also teaches patience. It reminds you that blessings unfold in divine timing. When you thank consistently, you no longer rush the process. You trust that what is meant for you will find you at the right time. Gratitude keeps you steady while you wait. It transforms waiting from frustration into preparation. It turns delay into trust. You begin to see that divine alignment is not about control. It is about cooperation. When your heart beats with gratitude, you attract more reasons to be thankful. Life begins to mirror your internal state. The more you thank, the more you receive. And the more you receive, the more you thank. It becomes an endless circle of divine reciprocity. That is alignment, an ongoing dance between giving and receiving, between acknowledging and being blessed. You are no longer out of tune with life. You are part of its symphony. So when you speak gratitude daily, do not let it become routine. Let it become reverence. Let each repetition remind you that you are part of something vast and benevolent. Let each thank you draw you closer to the divine order that sustains all things. Because gratitude spoken again and again does more than change your mood. It changes your vibration, your perspective, your destiny. It aligns you with the highest good, where miracles are not exceptions but natural expressions of grace.